And we can see your screen, Scott, if you...
You should be seeing...
Now I see you.
Right, yeah, you should be seeing this. We want to see the Global Peace Tribe.
Yeah, now I see it.
Oops. You seeing Global Peace Tribe, the video?
Yes.
Okay, great.
What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Thomas, and welcome to the Awakening World, our Saturday night edition. I want to start by welcoming all of you who are watching on Facebook or on YouTube. And thank you to John and Summer Raymer from the Sign Network. They're going to actually be on our show next weekend, and they get us out to as many as 100 Facebook groups and pages. So welcome, everybody. You know, we have a wonderful group of panelists tonight, and you may want to interact and talk with them. And if so, come on into our Zoom room. It's easy and it's free. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, and register. And when you hit the registration, you can put in a promo code of new friend, and that'll get you all of our Zoom room links for free. And I say all of our Zoom room links because we do a show every Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. We do 3 shows every weekend focusing on a topic. And tonight's topic is authors that we love. And so we've chosen, my wonderful co-host, Kristen Hoffman, and I have chosen some of our favorite authors who are with us tonight. And I'm going to introduce them to you in a moment. But definitely come on into our Zoom room. And of course, all the people that are already in our Zoom room, our kind of closest friends and fans, welcome. And whether you're watching on Facebook or in our Zoom room, if you haven't already let us know where you are geographically, please do so. It's especially fun to see where everyone is. And because of our kind of number one broadcast partner is Unify, so welcome to our friends on Unify. And our Unify friends are all over the world. Brazil and Australia and New Zealand and Africa. So it's really, really fun. People coming from all over the world watching us. Finally, I want to welcome those of you watching the replay. Our statistics are showing us that more and more people are watching our replay, either on YouTube. And you know, we have a very elaborate YouTube channel. Just go to Global Peace Tribe on YouTube. And we've got all of our shows, all the previous Awakening World shows are there, and all the previous Saturday Night Alive, Sacred Sunday shows, and Straight Talk shows are all living on YouTube We can see all these amazing presenters that we've done. We've done over 400 shows since the pandemic began. And honestly, each one of them is wonderful. So go back and watch. And if you are watching one of the replays, welcome. Okay, I want to tell you who we've got on our show tonight because it's a wonderful mix of music. Really, we should be calling it musicians that we love and authors that we love. And co-hosting with me tonight is a wonderful musician. She's like one of our favorites, Kristen Hoffman. But she's also, I love co-hosting with Kristin. Welcome, Kristin.
Yay! It's so awesome to be here with you all. Scott, it's always a pleasure to co-host with you. And I'm really excited about tonight's show.
And when we talked about this, Kristin said, we've got to bring on my childhood friend, wonderful author, Courtney Maum. So we're going to meet Courtney. Those of us in the early Zoom room show got a chance to meet her. She's awesome. And so we're going to meet Courtney. And then I brought on one of my best friends, Jonathan Robinson. You've seen him on the show before. He's written 15 books. Yep. The last time it was 14, but he's got a brand new book. Came out this week, The Enlightenment Project. So we're going to be learning all about that. And I'm also really happy coming back is Dr. Greg Kelly. And Greg is a wonderful author. He's also, you've seen him on the show before, as a scientist with Neurohacker. So we're going to get to learn more about the author as well as the scientist. And Katherine Woodward Thomas is with us live. The last time you saw her, she was acting in Robin Streichler's play. But tonight we're going to hear about her new book, and she's a wonderful author, and we really are grateful to have all of you with us. But we don't just have authors that we love. We have musical artists that we love. Now, of course, we have Kristin, who's going to bless us with some music. But we also have Fanny and Vigari. They're back. People have been asking about them, and they finally are in a place where they can play. And there's Fanny, and Vigari is somewhere floating around the house. So we're going to hear them. And our house musician, Omashar, is going to be with us. So these are our live musical artists. And then we also have 2 videos that we're going to play. Nina Gray, again, one of our favorite musical artists, I asked her to do a video for us because it's Gay Pride Month, and we really want to celebrate all of our friends in different communities. And she's made a gorgeous video all about love, and that's celebrating Gay Pride. And then Uttal has recorded a video for us. So we've got great music, we've got great artists, and I'm going to turn it over now to my wonderful friend, Kristen Hoffman, to take it away.
Oh, Scott, well, thank you so much. It is such a blessing to be here. And I feel so honored to open up the space tonight with a little music. And for those of you who have journeyed with me before, a lot of times I play songs as an artist, pre-written songs. But my favorite thing to do these days is to step into a sound healing space that I call Solom, so soul, S-O-L, being light, weaving with Om, the vibration of the universe. And I just open up and I see what wants to come through collectively. I feel that everyone watching, all of your intentions, your prayers, your visions are going to be imbued into this piece, and we'll just see what happens. Sometimes there's words, sometimes there's just melody and sound. And it's just a journey that reveals itself. So get ready. I'm going to dial myself in, and then we will go on an adventure. As Courtney's coming on tonight, I was thinking a lot about her new book, The Year of the Horses, which moved me so deeply when I read it a few months back. And just this theme of overcoming adversity, the rite of passage as we face the challenges of ourselves and of our lives, and find a willingness to embrace change, see through our fears, and step into a new space of possibility for ourselves. So I want to dedicate this piece tonight to this rite of passage, which we each go through in our own ways at different times. And if you're in the middle of one, just sending this to you with love.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you, dear ones. I'm going to come back into my body.
Well, Kristen, I'll give you a moment to breathe and just, as always, the comments are just flying in from Courtney, absolutely stunning. From Susan, from Kathy, tears are flowing down my cheek. Susan, absolutely amazing. Moses says, beautiful as always, so good to be here with the Global Peace Tribe. Catherine Woodward Thomas, so beautiful. Jonathan wants to know what album to begin with.
Well, Jonathan, I would say it depends. If you like healing music and you're into kind of this Solome world, I would say Solome Songs of Light, which I all recorded live. It was these kind of downloads that came through in a series of workshops. And there's another record called Amazing Space, which just takes you on a total deep journey, perfect for writing. And if you want songs, I would recommend The Human Compass, which is all about that deep journey that one takes within. I wrote it just about my own unfolding as I looked at my life. And on that record, I played every instrument, and it was my challenge to self, kind of like self-publishing. Can I play every instrument on this record? I had always had a dream to do that, and that was the one where I finally did.
And of course, we can find all things Kristen at KristenHoffman.com. That's where you can get her music. And I just want to remind everybody, please join her membership program. It is one of the best things I've ever done. She has a wonderful, wonderful series of programs. Yes, let's do this. It's asking me to sign in because I'm already in there. Anyway.
Yeah, you just click on the membership tab there, and then click on Become a Member.
There we go.
There you go. And I have a gathering tomorrow. I've started something called my Sonic Soul Family Gathering. It happens once a month, and we have a theme each month. This month, we're talking about opening to the mystery of life, kind of like in alignment with what I was just playing. But we dive into a theme, we all get to share, and then I usually do a solo journey and then a song with words around that theme. So please join and come be with us tomorrow.
And I love her Sonic Source gatherings. They're beautiful. I mean, just being able to drop in and hear her music, as we all know, is amazing. So, and let's all support our musical artists. So please support Kristin.
Thank you, Scott. Well, it is my great honor, talking about supporting artists, to give total love and adoration right now for my childhood best friend. We were inseparable. We met at age 5 and it was just like love at first sight. And it is a great honor to welcome our first speaker tonight, Courtney Maum. She has been writing books since I can remember, and they were always good. I don't know, she was just born with it. And I know it's gotten better. She's honed her skills. But even as a 6-year-old, I was in awe of her abilities and her deep ability to communicate visceral emotion and experience that you don't often come across. And Courtney tonight is going to be sharing about her new memoir called The Year of the Horses, which, talking about visceral emotion, this book is, it takes you straight to the heart. It is one of the most authentic books I have ever read in my life. Courtney accessed great bravery to tell her story and get both real with herself and the relationships in her life in writing this book. And I think there's deep healing for everyone who reads this book in this story of Courtney's rite of passage. And I'm just so thrilled to have you here tonight, Courtney. Let me read your official bio, and then I'll turn it over to you. So Courtney Maum is the author of 5 books, including the groundbreaking publishing guide Before and After the Book Deal, which you should all get, especially if you are aspiring writers, and the memoir, The Year of the Horses, chosen by the Today Show as the best read for mental health awareness. A writing coach and educator, Courtney's mission is to help people hold on to the joy of art making in a culture obsessed with turning artists into brands. And you can sign up. Well, Scott's going to take you to all of Courtney's amazingness at the end, where you can sign up for her offerings. But Courtney, it's such an honor to have you here, and I can't wait to hear what you have to share with us around the Year of the Horses and whatever else comes to mind.
Kristin, my goodness, I'm so moved. I hope I can speak. I feel so moved because, as you shared, you and I have come into our art together, starting as children, and we found each other now. And to hear your voice, having known what it was as a little girl, and it was already amazing. And just knowing, like, my own daughter is the age that we were when we were inseparable, and my daughter's never here anymore because she has these back-to-back sleepovers with her best friend, and it's just so beautiful to see that. And I think that you played such a huge part in helping me become the writer that I am, because you believed in me and I believed in you, and we took our art seriously from a young age. You know, we spent our free time writing songs together, you know. So thank you for the vibrations that you put out just now, which were deeply needed by me. And I'm welcome to all of you. I'm a newcomer here, and I'm so grateful that you've welcomed me into this very intimate space. I wanted to talk a little bit about my brand new book. I think we're a month old. This is my 5th book, but it's my first memoir, The Year of the Horses. And rather than talk sort of around the book, I was hoping I want to jump into a scene that if you decide to read the book, that you'll discover for yourself. To put things in perspective, the book, I cheated a little bit. It's kind of the year and a half of the horses, but it takes place when I'm about to turn 38 and my daughter is 2, and we're right here in Northwestern Connecticut. And I was going through a horrible depression that was having all sorts of physical manifestations for me. I've always really, really struggled with sleep. I have chronic insomnia. And that year of my life, I was completely undone by Sandy Hook. To me, that was the beginning of a major unraveling. I just couldn't get hope back for a long time. And my insomnia flared to such a point that I was just not sleeping at all, even with medical assist, drugs. Nothing could get me to sleep. And this depression came in like a tsunami. And my physical unravelings were quite serious, but also my marriage was coming apart. I couldn't, my relationship with my daughter was so fraught. And then my career, my writing, which had always been my joy, was not working. Nothing was working. And I didn't know where to turn. So there's a chapter in this book where I'm at a birthday party for another 2-year-old, my daughter's friend. And I don't love the young birthday parties. You have to go to a lot of them sometimes when you're a parent, and you don't always want to be there. And this is one of those days. And I was in a dark place, and they had all these little kids wailing on a piñata. It was a donkey piñata, obviously full of candy, and the kids were using a baseball bat. And I was just watching this scene, and I thought, I just think I'm going to crack open in front of everyone, and there'll be nothing of me left. I found it super violent, what the kids were doing. There was candy going all over the place. And I remember thinking, God, I don't want any of this. Like I'm going to have to stay and clean all this because the hostess is a friend. And as a woman, this is expected of me. And I don't want to clean the candy. And I don't want to watch these kids hit the piñata. And I don't know where to go for my joy anymore. And this man walked into the party. He was a parent of a child there, but I'd never met him. And he came up to me and introduced himself. He said, "Oh, I can't hug you or anything. I just came from the barn." And that word barn, like, it's like everything that was hurting inside of me, it held it for a moment. And like, there was a breath. And I said, "Your barn, tell me about your barn." And when I was a little girl and spending all my time with Kristin, horses were everything to me. They were everything to me. My magic, my escape, my promise, my joy. And when my parents got divorced when I was 9, it, kind of all ended. And I thought horses were a part of my past. And I had not felt the calling back to the horses for a while because I was so in love with my writing, but they had been calling me and I didn't want to listen. I was scared of the cost of it, as a freelance writer. And I was just not listening to the call. And that day, the man wrote down the name of his trainer, and I went out into the backyard and I called. I happened to get her, and we made a lesson. I didn't even ask what it was going to cost, which was a big deal for me. And that first time back on a horse for me was after 30 years, not even in a saddle, but around a horse. I sort of purposely avoided horses for 30 years, which is a long time. And what this book is about how horses helped me find myself again. They helped me find this part of myself which had gone completely lost, which was the person Kristin knew as a young child, the playful, silly, romantic in a certain sense, absolutely imaginative, convinced that Pegasuses existed and Yetis, the person who believed, optimistic and just joyful. And I know in hindsight now, what I didn't realize then was that my writing, because a few years before this whole experience, I'd been so lucky, and my lifelong dream came true. I got my first book published. And not only that, but it was a huge success. This book was a big bestseller and, put me on the map. And then something amazing happened. This publisher liked the book so much, they paid me tons of money to write another book. That book didn't exist. They just, they gave me a year to write it. A year's not a long time. And I collapsed. It was such a fortunate thing to have people believe in me, but I'd never had anyone looking over my shoulder. My writing, except for times I'd shared with people like Kristin or other people, my writing was the most personal, intimate, and magical thing in my life. And all of a sudden, the fact that it was monetized and that there were sales expectations and marketing expectations, it's like I lost the plug. I couldn't plug myself back into the joy that I'd found from writing. I literally couldn't find my way back. And, maybe this is part of how I was socialized as a woman, but I thought, okay, well, if my joy is not in writing and it's not in my husband and it's not in my daughter, am I supposed to become like an alcoholic? Am I supposed to abuse drugs? Am I supposed to over-exercise? This is how limited I was in my thinking. I didn't know where to go for the joy. And then I went back to the horses. And ultimately in the book, it's kind of, I think it's it's moving, there's some tough stuff in it, but it's also really funny because in the book, I turn to polo of all sports. I start to learn as a almost 40-year-old, the equestrian sport of polo. And I am a nervous person and I am deeply frightened of everything, but polo of being the most dangerous sport. What happened was in my depression, I was so disassociated from my body. I wasn't really in my body, and being on an already potentially dangerous, animal in this incredibly dangerous sport, I had to confront my fears. I had to act. I had to be in my body. I had to be firm in my body. And in order to not be carried away with, because when I first started riding again, the horses were mirroring everything that was going on with me. And I wasn't breathing and my shoulders were up here. And I was carrying such darkness that when I walked through barns, horses pinned their ears back and they started weaving, which is a sign of, I do not like what you're bringing into this area. And the thing that hadn't been happening in my human life, all of a sudden was happening with horses. In my human life, it was clear that I wasn't well, but nobody was stopping and saying, Courtney, what's going on with you? Instead they said, I like your shirt. Oh, I like your bangs, or, whatever it was. No one was stopping me and holding me and saying, if you need to share something, it's okay. But the horses, they don't lie. And so in this book, you'll see not just me, but there's quite a lot of reported research about women's healing journey, other women's and military vets and all sorts of people who struggle with autism, and the success that they've found through horse contact, not just riding, but just being around horses, and the way that horses' heartbeats can affect ours and their energy fields can be so deeply healing. So that is what the book is about. And I'm so happy to say that since I started writing with an R again, I've never written so much or so productively or been so proud and free and open-hearted about the things that I'm writing. Like I said, I published 5 books since 2014, and 4 of them have been on horseback. So I hope, the thing that I've become really passionate about right now is that we deserve joy in our life, even though we are living through some dark times. Joy is what's going to help us get through it. And also, and I say this to women, especially those who identify as women who might have been socialized in the same way I was, you can't be putting other people first all the time. You have to come first, so that if you do decide to show up for other people, you're showing up as an authentic, joyful, and strong person. And I know now that what had happened to me, I was doing all this stuff for other people, especially as a young mother, and I'd eradicated myself. And then when I needed myself, there was nothing left of me. So I hope you'll consider giving it a read. It's available everywhere, independent bookstores, Amazon. I also did the audiobook, which was a deeply moving experience. And best of all, Kristin is in a lot of this book. And I think from this book, you'll also understand how Kristin, became this angelic force that she is today. So I'm so grateful for you allowing me to share my journey, and I'm eager to learn more about everybody here. So thank you very much. I feel very grateful.
Oh, Courtney, thank you for having the courage to just get really real with us about your own personal experience. And how horses were the vehicle that helped you to wake up to new parts of yourself and heal the wound that I think you had been carrying for many years. What a gift. And I think that each of us in our own way go through this where we come to a point where we realize, oh, what we've gathered, the programs that we've been carrying they're not really working and supporting us in the most, in the highest way. And what does it look like for us to evolve? And as I was reading through your story with you, and it's interesting because we were inseparable up to a point, and then I realized, oh, there was so much of your life that I didn't even know about. So I felt like I was also being gifted with filling in so much of the emotional timeline of this soul who's so important to me in this lifetime. But feeling your breakthrough, feeling you face those fears, and I don't want to give away anything, but just feeling you learn to surrender and run, right? That was so liberating. And I know anyone who's a human who's on your own life path will be able to relate to this story. You don't even have to know horses at all in your own life to be deeply moved and be able to apply the wisdom here to your life. So thank you, Courtney, so much. I love you dearly, and I'm just so grateful for the work you're doing in the world. And thank you. Scott, I know you have some good
we're going to take a look at her
Courtney.
website in a moment. But I want to read some of the comments coming in, Courtney. Robin writes, Courtney spoke to my soul tonight. Pam writes, I just ordered the book, Courtney. Karen wrote, amazing, Courtney. Thank you so much. Carol writes, I can't wait to read your book. Dr. Laura writes, Courtney, your book sounds fantastic. And finally, Suzanne writes, Courtney, horse was my very first animal spirit, and I look forward to getting your book. I read every horse book I can get my hands on. Mystical experience with horse forever in my heart. So thank you so much. My mother raised Morgan horses, and anyway, thank you so much. And of course, we all, I think, or many of us, want to get the book. So again, go to Courtney's website, and I want to point out a few things. And it's really amazing that it won the honor of the Today Show, saying that this is the best read for mental health, The Year of the Horses by Courtney Maum. That's pretty incredible. And anybody who is interested in being an author, make sure you go back and watch our early Zoom Room show with Courtney and Jonathan. And Courtney, you definitely want to subscribe to her newsletter, where you get all these wonderful publishing and writing tips. So I'm going to do that because I'm working on one of my books this week. So I'm looking forward to that. And she has a wonderful book called Before and After the Book Deal. So you definitely want to get there. It is. I'll go back to the screen, off screen share, so we can see that. So, and Courtney, you also have some workshops and classes that you're doing. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So if you go to my website under the classes tab, partly because of my insomnia, it's better for me to kind of stay in one place. So I don't teach at workshops in person all the time. So what I did was developed 4 different master classes, and each one's pretty different. One is dedicated to people who are trying to write a book proposal, which is its own special animal. One is for people who are trying to get memoir to work in either short essay form or book form. This is really good for people who have not really written memoir before, but feel called to tell a story and don't know how to organize it. I give you really simple, pragmatic, and joyful tips for organizing your material and structuring the book. And then I have one that's really just for accountability and confidence. It's actually a voice and SMS class where I leave you really positive voice messages every day and send you prompts via text. And then the other one is for people who are ready to try to get a traditional book deal in America. It's a companion of this book, and it'll help you put together marketing materials for your book, write an agent query letter, write a little pitch document, all these things that you might not realize you have to do and all of a sudden will be asked for. So with my class, you'll have them ready. And all of my classes are very, very affordable. To me, that's important to keep them affordable, and you can do them at your own pace. So there will be homework, but there's not, you can do it on your own timetable. And for 2 of the classes, I actually weigh in with personal feedback. So, and they're fun. People like them.
Fantastic. Well, Courtney, thank you so much. It's
you.
great to meet you. And of course, any beloved of Kristin is somebody that we're all going to fall in love with. So thank you, Kristin.
Oh, what a nice thing to say. Thank
yeah, it's true. So, a big part of the awakening world, and we tackle so many different topics, but I just really want to take a minute to acknowledge how important it is for us to embrace people who love in all forms. And it's Gay Pride Month. Now, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, so Gay Pride is a big deal where I live. And hopefully it's becoming a bigger and bigger deal all over the world. And so I wanted to do something to celebrate Gay Pride Month. And so I spoke to Nina Gray, who's, of course, one of our favorite musical artists. You've seen her on the show many times. And Nina made this video you're about to see just for us, just for the awakening world. And now she's put it up on her website and sent it out to her Patreon friends. And it's lovely. So with no further ado, here is Nina Gray.
Is there a right way, or can we get it wrong? When we love someone, when we're loving someone, if it were up to Jesus, think he'd open up his arms to really love someone, to really love everyone. Love is what they say, ain't that what matters in the end anyway? Different colors and different lives, it's all the same on the inside. Love is what they say, ain't that what matters in the end anyway? Different colors and different lives, it's all the same on the inside. She spent a long time thinking there was something wrong, journaling at midnight, feeling so alone. He spent a lifetime playing out a role, denying attraction to the man he loved the most. Love is what they say, ain't that what matters in the end anyway? Different colors and different lives, it's all the same on the inside. Love is what they say, ain't that what matters in the end anyway? Different colors and different lives, it's all the same on the inside. Oh, love is 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 love.
Oh, that was so
Isn't
lovely.
that amazing?
Oh,
I got tears. I have absolutely got tears watching that.
thank you, Nina, for making this incredible video just for this show and for Gay Pride Month. We're so grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really beautiful and fun. It was in great spirit.
Yeah, exactly. I really love that too. So,
Yeah.
and a reminder to support Nina Gray. It's her website, ninagray.com, NINAGRAE.com. And just like we support Kristin through Patreon, you can support her through Patreon as well. Patreon is such a wonderful way for us to support our musical artists. Cornflower, Kristin, Nina Gray, all of our favorite musical artists. You can support them. And it's wonderful because you join and then you get these fun emails from Kristin and from Nina with a new song or a new offering. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So please do support Nina as well as Kristin. Thank you. And I'm going to turn over to Kristin to introduce a wonderful guest who's with us. I'm so excited.
Yay! I'm excited too. I am welcoming onto the screen Katherine Woodward Thomas. Hey, Katherine, it's so beautiful to be with you again.
I'm so moved. I'm like inspired by everything that's happening here tonight, by your music and by Courtney, by Nina. I'm just so moved and inspired.
Oh, me too. And we're about to get inspired by you, which is going to be a treat. Katherine and I have been lucky enough to get to know each other in person through the Evolutionary Leaders over the past bunch of years, but I have not seen you in a few years. So wonderful to be back together. And let me just read your bio for everyone.
Okay, great.
Katherine Woodward Thomas is the New York Times bestselling author of Conscious Uncoupling, 5 Steps to Living Happily, Even After. 5 Steps to Living Happily, Even After.
Even after.
As well as Calling in the One, which I think so many of you know. 7 Steps to Attracting the Love of Your Life, as well as an award-winning marriage and family therapist. You've obviously done so much to help the world of relationships, Katherine, and Lord knows we need help in that area, right? I think each one of us goes through our own relationship challenges, whether it be with our loved one or family or friends, and you are definitely a master in this category. So with love, I mean, I know we're never masters, we're always learning, but as far as this subject matter goes, I'm just so grateful that you're doing the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And that you're so generously sharing it with us tonight. So I turn over to you.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Well, I think we all have been doing our work in this area, because we know that there are few pains more acute than the pain of unrequited love or love gone wrong, or not being able to find somebody in the space, not being able to get our needs met, and being so desperate to stay connected with that person and not being able to set boundaries or keep love healthy and safe. And I think we all know at this point that it's not just about finding that one person, it's about being the person you would need to be in order to have it go well when you do. So there is work to be done. And I don't think any of us are newbies to personal development work. However, I do want to introduce a concept today that I think is not talked about enough in the way that we're doing our personal development work, in the way that we're trying to sort through our relationship issues, heal from the past. Most of us at this point understand very well what happened, who it happened with, where it happened, what we did not get that we needed, what we did get that was really toxic and destructive. And so at this point, we kind of know why we are the way we are. We might even have a PhD in it at this point. I know that was true for me. And I will tell you, I mean, this book, thank you, first of all, for inviting me to a show that says Authors We Love. That's quite the compliment, Scott. So this is my recent edition of Calling in the One. And some of you know the story, but I think it's important to say that I was a person who had been working on my relationship issues really full time, my relationship with myself and looking to learn how to love myself when I did not feel loved in the home that I grew up in and felt quite empty inside. And also the relationship that I had with others, which I was so hungry to get it right. I was quite hungry to create a family of my own and just kept bumping up against patterns of deep codependence. I'd be love avoidant for years. Then I'd get into an addictive situation. I would go after one unavailable person after the other. I had a particular thing for married men, or they had a particular thing for me. It's like any size, shape, or form of impossible love, I was head over heels in. I even joke, but it was actually true, that gay men who wanted to explore had a thing for me. It was just always never going to go anywhere. And frankly, I'm joking about it now, but I was crushed and I was heartbroken because I was such a good person and I gave so much love to the world. And I was so frustrated that after all those years of working on myself, that I couldn't seem to get leverage beyond my patterns. So I like to say, and I am a psychotherapist, became one from the inside out. And I like to say that psychotherapy saved my life, but it didn't necessarily change my life. And what I've since discovered is that what changed my life is when I actually had the courage to set an intention for a future that looked nothing like anything I'd ever experienced before, and to begin to lean in to the question, who will I need to be in order for this future to both manifest and sustain itself? And in asking that question and in leaning in and in working with visioning practice to try on the possible self of that future fulfilled, what happened is it initiated a tremendous growth journey, which was different than analyzing why I was the way that I was. It was more of an inquiry into who will I need to be? What did I not learn in terms of how to regulate my own emotions, how to be less reactive, how to be more conscious of the assumptions that I'm centered in and interpreting through that lens, and then responding from that perspective in a way that set me up to actually unconsciously duplicate that same pattern over and over again. See, we're never responsible for what happened to us as children. When we're talking about breaking up victimization, what we're talking about is the victimization we feel, not about what happened 30 years ago, but what happened 30 minutes ago, where just that same pattern showed up again, where I wasn't chosen, or I was disappeared somehow, or somehow expected to give all my power away, because that's the dynamic I created as a pseudo safety approach to try and create connection with somebody. And when you look at it from the perspective of the future, from the future backwards, and you start becoming curious about, well, who would I be inside of a future fulfilled? And this is around relationship, but it's about your relationship with money, your relationship with your voice in the world, with your success. And, how beautiful, Courtney, to see your journey of all you were going through and to see where you are now. That's like what you didn't even need to say, just the modeling of that. It gives us all hope that in our darkest moment, even then something beautiful is being carved within us. The compassion, the creativity, the recreation. So that's happening for all of us. Everything that we've ever experienced in our lives is actually the food for our own personal hero's journey, heroine's journey. And so on the journey of becoming ourselves fully, of finding a way to repurpose that personal pain into a planetary offering, into the gifts that you have to give, which how gorgeous, some of like a minuscule, all of the suffering I went through that I now can actually speak before you about relationship, that Kristin would even call me a master of the most disastrous area of my life. That's my heroine's journey. It doesn't come just from looking backwards. It comes from looking forward and of breaking up the false self, the traumatized self we've been over-identified with, the I'm alone self, the I'm not good enough self, the I'm not worthy self, and beginning to try on that possible self of your future fulfilled in that vision. So if you're up to creating abundance, how do I walk through the world from abundance? Who am I here? How am I walking physically? How am I interacting with my sister, with my coworker? How do I speak to myself? One of my favorite metaphysicians, Neville Goddard, says, you are free to choose the concept you will accept of yourself. Therefore, you possess the power of intervention, the power which enables you to alter the course of your future. The process of rising from your present concept to a higher concept of yourself is the means of all true progress. See, if you've had a pattern that keeps you stuck in not being actualized, in continually being in a struggle, being in a contracted place of heart pain, you want to notice that probably you're overly identified with the traumatized self from your past. Identity is formed in relationship and in relationship with your early caregivers. So we're doing a lot of good work around healing those wounds, witnessing the younger part of us that was somehow underfed, undernourished, under-recognized, diminished, violated. But what we also want to do is to look to the future and say, who am I beyond that story? We need to access the parts of ourselves that's mature and wise, just as Kristin was saying, your beautiful line, it's time to let yourself into your light. To actually take the strongest, wisest parts of you that you give so freely to a friend who's feeling sad and discouraged, that you give so freely to a child who just skinned their knee, that you give so freely even to people you don't even know when you write a generous check to a nonprofit to care for people who will never know your name. Where is that you when it comes to when you need encouragement? You need to know your value. You need to be tended to, given a talking to, a pep talk, even helping yourself to shepherd the lessons that need to be learned. That is the relationship between the true you, the part of you holding strength and vision and resources, and that younger traumatized self in your body. If you can't really hold a possibility for your life, it's for one of two reasons. The first reason is that you're overly identified with the true you. You believe what you feel. With the traumatized you. You're overly identified with the wounded self of the past, particularly in the face of being disappointed, of making a mistake. What we need to do instead when that happens for you, when you feel yourself drop down into the collapse, the discouragement, it'll never happen for me. You take a breath. You ask yourself, where is this in my body? You send love to that part of you from the part of you holding wisdom and strength. You say, what's the I am being held in that center? How old is that me? And from there, you can start to tend to that part of you. And then you can actually deal with the disappointment in a way where you are able to learn and grow. And you can hold the complexity that even now, in this moment, where I'm so heartbroken and disappointed, I know that life is on my side. I know that this is an opportunity for me to become who I will need to be in order to manifest the future that I'm standing for. So the old way, if we allow ourselves to sink into the collapse, we will start generating life from there. And what that looks like is like the I don't matter self. And then suddenly we start to put other people's feelings before our own, other people's needs before our own. Because if I don't matter, well, I guess other people matter more than me. And then we train them to not take care of our feelings and needs. And then we have relational evidence that we don't matter. And basically, what the true you there is to wake ourselves out of that trance is, sweetheart, you matter. Your feelings and needs matter. They matter to me. And truthfully, it's appropriate to have an expectation that they matter to anyone that you let into your inner circle. So we mentor ourselves just like we would a friend, so that we can consciously create the future that we're standing for. We can vision every day who I am in that future fulfilled. It will be almost like foreign territory for some of us who are so attached and so victimized. So the first reason why it's hard to evolve, we're overly identified with the traumatized self. The second reason is that we're still victimized. And a lot of us are doing our work in the past, looking at how victimized we are. Victimized now because by our own unconscious that kind of internalize those messages. What you want to look at to break up victimization are the choices that you're making as an adult. They're very simple. They're behavioral. I disappear my feelings and needs. I don't express them. I prioritize caring for others beyond caring for myself. The moment we are able to get out of the story, well, I don't matter because my mother did this and my father did that, and then my older brother did this. You say, no, the I don't matter is alive in this space right now because I just disappeared myself. I did not express what I actually need. And now I have the power to do it differently and begin to live from the truth of who I really am. So we want to begin to identify with the trauma, with the true self in the way that we've been overly identified with the traumatized self. We are not newbies to personal development. We have been in the trenches, and many of us at some point have become too entrenched in that story. We've looked back so much that we've gotten too identified with that self that we created in response. We all know as metaphysicians that what we focus on grows. So every day in your meditation, what's the future I'm committed to creating? Who am I in that future? Fulfilled, and how will I now need to grow and develop myself in the direction of my dreams? Werner Erhard once said, you must create the future from the future. Thank you so much.
Katherine, that was so profound and exactly what I think we each needed to hear right now. To just really zoom out and visualize, who is it? Give ourselves the gift of ourselves, right? Who is it that we want to become? And have the courage to own when we are giving ourselves less than that. And wow, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're so welcome. Scott, you're such a rock star. Look at what you've created. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I just, every weekend as I watch our show, and each person is such a bright light, and I'm loving tonight's show. I mean, just everyone is sharing such wisdom and so vulnerable. You know, there's such the humility from Matt Kahn last night, the humility from you and Courtney, and talking about yourselves. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I want to, of course, go to Katherine's website because that's what I do, part of what I do. And it's her name, Katherine, and she spells it with a K, KatherineWoodwardThomas.com. And Katherine, tell us about this. I'm a love coach. That's what I do. That's my day job. And I'd love to know about your Calling in the One certified coach training. Tell us about that.
Thank you so much. One of my favorite things to do is to train coaches and to really equip people from all walks. We have very seasoned coaches like yourself, psychotherapists, psychologists, and we also have what we call lay people coming in from other fields who really just want to make the transition into being a love coach. It's a 9-month program. It's very hands-on, very comprehensive. I've kind of taken the best of everything that I learned myself in my training as a psychotherapist, and also in the years of doing transformative work. And I've created this wonderful program to really equip people to coach through Calling in the One, but also to be able to apply it to the particular niche that people have, the callings that people have. So Calling in the One, coachtraining.com. Right now, we've lifted the application fee. The training starts in about a month and a half, and we've lifted the application fee for the next couple of days because we're doing some promotion on it. It takes 10 minutes and you get to sit with a coach. And if you just even go to the website, there's a wonderful 10-minute video that we just made of about several of our coaches talking about it. So anyone's interested.
And here it is, calling. So go to Calling in the One coachtraining.com.
Yeah.
Calling in the One coachtraining.com. There's the video she's talking about. I'm going to play it. That's going to be doing dinner tonight while I eat. I'm going to listen to that. That was interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for the wisdom you shared tonight.
And Katherine is also an amazing singer and songwriter. And I just wanted to highlight, because you have a beautiful voice and I am such a fan of your music that you're creating. And
Thank you.
Is there a link where we can get your record?
Well, if you go to iTunes or Spotify, it's right there. Katherine Woodward Thomas. The CD I put out 2 years ago is called Lucky in Love with the Corin brothers, who I think you guys all know.
Love those guys.
Yeah, we love those guys.
Oh, yeah.
They're amazing.
Oh, I did not know until the second that you sang.
Yeah.
When are you going to, will you come back and sing on our show?
Oh, thank you. I will. Thank you very much.
Yes, awesome.
Yes. Okay.
Great. Next time, Kristen's co-hosting. All right.
That would be incredible. What a gift! I would be so excited.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katherine. You're such a gem. Thank you.
Lots of love, everyone.
Wow, what a night, huh? Just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely
Incredible.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I feel like I've already learned so much and grown as a person on such deep levels just through Courtney and Katherine sharing. So by the end of tonight, I don't know, I might just, I'll either disappear or I'll be more incarnate. Probably more incarnate. I feel like
hopefully more. We still
life.
need you to be here. Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, this is the moment where I want to just really encourage people to support us. I'm kind of going back and forth trying to decide what to do around the awakening world for this summer, because I love doing this every weekend, and it's a lot to pull it together every weekend. And I recognize it's summertime and there's festivals. I'm at a festival right now, and I'm going back and forth between doing the shows and doing the festival. And I do want to find the best way to continue us. So one thing that I'd love to get people's feedback on is what I'm thinking of doing is structuring it so that we still have Awakening World every weekend, but sometimes we're showing replays of shows like tonight's. I mean, tonight's show is phenomenal. And anybody who missed it should watch it. And even people who saw it before will probably go, oh, I remember that show is so good. So I'm looking at kind of a balance where 2/3 of the time I'm doing original shows, and 1/3 of the time I'm kind of choosing some of our favorite shows from the past, including previous Saturday Night Live shows, previous Straight Talk shows. So I'd love people's feedback about that. And I also would really love to ask people to, because we do need financial support to make this happen. And so I am bringing up our wonderful little code here. And if you get out your trusty cell phones and you go to camera and you go in and you go and boom, what pops up is a wonderful way to easily donate to us. And your donations really make a big difference. Or if you prefer, you can just go to www.supportgpt.com. Supportgpt.com. But it really makes a difference. So your providing financial support is really, it's important, and we need that. So please do support us. There's also another fun way you can support us, and it's really easy. For any of you who are buying from Amazon, which is probably most of us, please join the Amazon Smile program. It's really easy. You just go to amazonsmile.com and choose Unify the World. Unify the World as your Smile partner. And then every time you place an order with Amazon, we get some money. And you know what? It adds up. I know that I'm buying from Amazon all the time. And I don't know if you've noticed, but you place the order and 15 minutes later, they're knocking on the door, delivering it. They've got it very fast. So definitely you can support us in that way. And then finally, more people need to be watching this show. I recognize that people are zoomed out, people are off to festivals. That's why the numbers watching our recordings are growing. But let people know about the show, because all the time they'll go, my God, I had no idea this amazing show existed. So share it with people, let people know about it. And there's so many ways to share it out. Send out our, on YouTube, our Global Peace Tribe channel is really wonderful. The very top playlist are some of my favorite segments. So you'll hear like Kristin singing, or the Twin Ray doing their thing, or some really beautiful segments. And then every single show we've ever done, whether it was Saturday Night Live or Sacred Sunday or The Awakening World, they all exist on our YouTube channel. So get the word out and help to support us. Thank you very much. And I do appreciate each and every one of you, whether you're watching for the first time or those of our friends that come to every show, every weekend. I appreciate all of you. All right, they're back. Fanny and Vigari have been traveling. I did mute you guys, by the way, so you're going to need to unmute. And they are back with us, and we're so excited. Of course, they were practically on every after show that we did. And then they've been traveling, but they let me know that they were now in a situation where they could play again. And so here they are on the main show, because we love Fanny and Vigari. And after they play, we'll take a look at where you can get some of their music. But welcome back, you two. We've missed you, and it's great to see you again.
Yes, thank you, Scott. We've missed being with you, with all you people. And we've been traveling across Canada from Vancouver to the great city of Toronto. So here we are coming at you from the edge of Lake Ontario.
And it's a beautiful place.
I'm going to turn over to Kristen. I kind of jumped in, to be honest. I got so excited about Fanny and Vigari.
You can jump in whenever you like.
But I also want to acknowledge it was Fanny's birthday just 2 days ago. So a big Awakening World happy birthday to you.
Oh,
well,
Fanny and Vigari, I just want to officially introduce you. So Fanny and Vigari, also known as the Mystiques, are like the two sides of a coin. On one side, an original, colorful, totally improvised explosion of creative expression to engage and entertain children of all ages. On the other, a background of Afro, Caribbean, Latin, and R&B styles played at festivals throughout Canada, the US, and beyond. And I have been so deeply moved by your ethereal music so many times, and I'm really looking forward to this piece, which I got a little taste of during our sound check.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kristin.
Thank you so much. This one is a song inspired by the great grand Alex Gray, that is also a great author. And it's a song very watery. And here it goes for you, my love. It's time for loving connections. It's time for love revolution. It's time to raise the vibration. It's time for ascension. Millions and millions of enmeshed vibration. Here we are, to uplift this world. Here we are. It's a cosmic possibility of evolution, a collectivity, a reality as our human race. So here we are, and what are we here for? What are we really here for? Resolution, a cosmic love evolution. Here we are. through sand. We are here through sand. We are here to love and to be loved. We are here, here with the tribe.
You definitely took us to heaven, for sure, and brought it back down.
Yeah, I couldn't talk. It was like, oh, I'm supposed to do something right now.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing your music. And I have to say, every time I see you guys play, I feel the love that you share and just the deep partnership and respect. And when you look over to Fanny, I'm just always like, oh. So I just felt it again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you so much, dear ones.
You two model relationship, the way you travel together, play together. It's very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. And they're going to be back. They're going to do our closing song tonight. But I also want to let people know that you can find them on Bandcamp. And they are the Mystiques 1111 on Bandcamp. The Mystiques 1111 on Bandcamp. I'm already following them, so make sure you follow them. And they've got 3 different albums. They've got Awaken 1111, they've got Liberté, and they've got Star Child and Company. Magic is in the Air. So that's really awesome. And
And
they
if you have kids, Star Child is so much fun. I have to say. I don't
um,
have kids, but it just brings my child self alive.
well, and thank you for bringing up Star Child. That's Fanny's other name, and they do shows for kids and for people and adults. So you can go to starchild.ca, learn all about their mystical harp music and all about the different programs that they can do. Wouldn't it be fun to have them come to a party you're doing, whether it's for kids or for adults? I want to see you guys live. So, that's one of the things as I'm traveling, I'm finally meeting people live. Like Mystical Joyride played last night at Soul Play Festival, and they've been on this show, but finally I was able to meet them. So we're finally going to start meeting. We will have Global Peace Tribe retreats. It will happen just in the right time.
Oh, wow. So here we are. Thank you, Scott, for the invitation.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, we're going to see more Fanny and Vigari a little bit later at the end of the show. So thank you. And Kristen, I get to introduce my buddy Jonathan Robinson.
Yay!
And Jonathan is my friend, and he's also someone I totally admire because he's got an amazing life. He lives in a beautiful place. He's got 2 great dogs. He's a prolific author. And he plays a lot. Like, he's all about fun. When Jonathan and I first became friends, he sent me a list of 75 possible topics of conversation. It was like so cool. I was like, okay, if we're gonna be friends, here are things that I know a little bit about or I'm interested in, and these are things we can talk. It was like brilliant. And so I went to visit him, and I arrived on a Thursday night, and we sat down, we watched the Warriors game. And on Friday morning, he woke up, wasn't feeling well, had COVID. So of course, a few days later came down with COVID, but it was like the best possible week I could have with COVID, because he's got all the toys. He's got the steam room and the massage table and the massage chair, and he's a fascinating conversationalist, and it went by very quickly. So if you ever have to do COVID, book a week with Jonathan. That's my recommendation.
That's the lesson.
But if that's not what appeals to you, he's written great books. Conversations with Dog, All the Ways to Experience Joy, and the new one, The Enlightenment Project. So with that, Kristen, let's find out all about the Enlightenment Project and Jonathan Robinson.
Well, thanks for that introduction, Scott. Always great to see you. And Kristen, I'm really looking forward to getting into your work.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm thrilled to be meeting you. I had heard such amazing reports from Scott, and I'm just going to tell everyone a little bit about you. Jonathan Robinson is a psychotherapist, best-selling author of 14 books, and a professional speaker from Northern California. He has reached over 200 million people around the world with his practical methods, and his work has been translated into 47 languages. Wow. Jonathan has made numerous appearances on The Oprah Show, as well as many other national TV talk shows, and articles about him have appeared in USA Today, Newsweek, and the Los Angeles Times. Jonathan, I'm impressed. I'm very, very impressed. And I'm also just so moved because in the pre-show, I could just feel your energy as a great human in addition to all that you've accomplished. So please take us on your journey. Tell us all about your new book and whatever else comes to mind. Thank you for being here.
Well, I want to first say that I'm just a normal human being who entered into trying to find a way to peace and happiness. And luckily, I had the disadvantage or the advantage of having a terrible childhood. So I got started on this road at like age 11 when I had my midlife crisis. And I was all depressed and suicidal. And, really it was trying to find people who really were inspiring, like you and Scott and I've now interviewed 100 spiritual leaders, ranging from the late Mother Teresa to the Dalai Lama and everybody in between. And I'm always asking for, what's the difference that is simple enough that people like you and me can get out of the muck and the busyness and the culture we're in, which is kind of a materialistic cult, and get us into the joy and love that's our birthright. And so I've been very fortunate that I'm very persistent, meaning that if I want to interview someone, I stalk them until they eventually say yes. And that's worked for me. So I've gotten to meet all these great gurus and writing teachers and all kinds of people. And I ask them, what can you tell me I can do in under 5 minutes that's going to make a difference in my life? And I kind of collect those ideas and methods. And, some of them don't work for me, but a lot of them do. And it's really changed my life. So now things are really good. And I'm very fortunate. And I try to put all my best stuff in my book. So like the latest book, The Enlightenment Project, is what I learned from interviewing 100 spiritual leaders and what their best methods were, what led to their awakening, what led to their transformation. And basically, I'm selfish. I wanted to know that for myself, but I figured other people might want to know it as well. So that's how a book like that came about. And, the other thing is people ask me a lot of times, how do you write so many books? And I only write when I feel like it. I do have a discipline that I will sit down and write for 5 minutes, 3 times a week. And most of the time there's nothing there and I turn off the computer after 5 minutes. But every now and then, if you're disciplined, I think that higher forces will say, okay, the guy's going to sit down and write every week. I'm going to give him something to write about. And when it's juicy and filled with passion, then I just keep on writing. And so one of my books I wrote in a day, and one I wrote in 4 days, just because there was so much juice going through. And I encourage people to, have a discipline where it's very simple like that, where you're just sitting down and seeing if something comes through. And I know, Kristin, that's probably how you write songs. It's how great stuff happens. And we're all just normal human beings, and we're just hoping for something to move through us. And when you have something unique to say and a passion to say it, whether it comes through writing songs or books or videos, there's no greater honor than that. One of the things that was fun is I share a lot of stories in my book about, what it's like to meet a Mother Teresa or the Dalai Lama. I'll tell you one funny story Scott reminded me of. When I met the Dalai Lama, I'm nervous and I don't know what to do. I'm kind of uptight. And he's like a 5-year-old kid that's just having a great time, and I asked him a couple of serious questions. One was, what do you tell people when they're in deep conflict, like in a marriage or in a business, to get them out of their suffering? And he says, I have a ancient Tibetan talisman I will give you and show you that helps people immediately get out of their suffering. And I'm so excited, like, oh my God, and he said, I will give it to you. I'm very excited. So he leaves the room, he gets something, he comes back and he has me close my eyes. And then he says, this Tibetan talisman will immediately end all conflict between people. And he finally has me open my eyes, and the Dalai Lama is wearing this and a bozo nose. And he starts laughing hysterically, and we're both laughing together. He says, anytime you're arguing with someone, if one of you puts on one of these, you won't be able to argue anymore. Now, I'm a marriage and family counselor, and I've actually given this to people. Little things like this can make a big difference. And so in my books, I tried to say what's really been useful that I've learned from other people. I'm sure as a songwriter, you kind of have talked to other songwriters and you get inspired. And in this day and age, we need all the inspiration we can get because it's a tough world.
Jonathan, you are the master of the 90-second way to do this, or the 3 Ps or the 5 Fs. What are a couple tips? A couple of your favorite tips you'd be willing to share with us tonight.
Well, I'll give a couple writing tips that are quick and a couple of inner peace tips that I've gotten from people like Ram Dass or Byron Katie or other people. A writing tip is sometimes I'll say, what I'm really uniquely trying to say here is, and that starts me off in the right direction. Or what's really important for you to know is, or one of my favorite stories from my life is, and as I complete those sentence prompts, the writing starts to flow. You know, I don't like looking at a blank piece of paper. I want to get something out. And sometimes as you answer questions like that or answer statements like that, you tap into a vein of inspiration that comes from somewhere and is really fun to ride. So those are a couple of writing tips along with the 5-minute things where you write just for 5 minutes and you see if something comes of it. But in terms of, I'll share a story. I don't know if I've ever shared on Saturday Night Live or Saturday Night Live, but one story that really impacted me, the first time I was on the Oprah show, you know, Oprah asked me, she told me that she loved my book, which was called Conversations with Dog, because she loves dogs. And she said, how's your dog doing? And I said, well, you know, he started having seizures. I'm really worried about him. And she said, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'll be sure to pray for him. Now, that was the entire 10-second conversation off camera. Well, 2 years later, I'm on her show again, and she comes up to me. I'm surprised. She said, good to see you again, Jonathan. By the way, how's your dog Rama? Oh, no, how's Rama, the name of my dog? And I couldn't get that a conversation that happened 2 years ago with Oprah that was 10 seconds long. She would remember that whole thing. So I said, who's Rama? And she said, Rama's your dog. He was having seizures and I prayed for him. How's he doing? And I said, better, you know, like, how'd you remember that? And she said, well, you know, I grew up in a place where I was raped and was put in jail and had a stillborn child, and it was horrible. And I realized the only thing I had going for me was I cared about people. And so I tried to show my care for people. And I've done that ever since I was a teenager. And look, it turned out pretty good, don't you think? And I'd say it did. So we all can be kind. And one of the things I learned from these, whether it be Mother Teresa or Ram Dass or Byron Katie, is how kind these people were, despite how busy they were. And that really touched me, because I think we all know it comes down to not how much money you make or how popular you are, but how big your heart is and how much you can grow your heart and inspire other people's hearts. So, and that's whether you're Deepak Chopra or Joe Schmo, you have equal access to kindness. And that's a great gift. But another one of the, and one more story, another one of the methods that was so simple that changed my life was, as I interviewed a lot of these people, a lot of them said that the doorway to a higher consciousness was a combination of either love or gratitude. Well, I knew love was a doorway, but gratitude, I was like, okay, you know, I'll take that in. And then a friend of mine came back from India and said he got a magical mantra that helped him feel overwhelming gratitude. Well, I asked him what the mantra was, and he said you had to go to India to get it. So I go to India, 18,000 miles, to get this mantra, because I always want the simplest, best methods. So I go there and I finally get a chance to talk to this guru, and I ask him what his mantra for gratitude is. Traveled all this way, and he says, whenever possible, to repeat these words. The mantra I give you are the words, thank you. Well, I look at him, I go, no, give me the real mantra. And he goes, no, that's it, you know, and I say, that's it? He goes, no, that's it is the mantra you have been using. That makes you feel like you never have enough. My mantra is thank you, not that's it. That's it will take you nowhere. So I'm totally pissed off. And I say, well, thanks for nothing. And he said, no, thanks for nothing is not the mantra. You must say it from your heart many times a day. So when you eat good food, say thank you. And when you see your child or a sunset or your pet, say thank you from your heart. Well, long story short, I traveled all this way, so I figured I'd try it. And the reality is that you and I live better than kings lived 50 years ago. We have access to more information. We have access to talking to everybody in the world for free. You know, we have access to air conditioning and heating. I mean, the world is in bad shape, but in terms of our personal lives, we're so fortunate moment by moment. And when you say thank you from your heart to God or the universe, that's an example of a 5-second technique that can literally alter how you are being in the world. And surprisingly, there's a lot of 5-second techniques that actually do work. The technology for finding peace and happiness and higher consciousness has actually improved. And that's why I tried to come up with all the best methods in one book, because I'm lazy. I wanted all in one book, so I thought I'd document it. And that's how the Enlightenment Project came about. You're muted, Scott. If you said something, I'm
Wow,
not sure.
Jonathan, that's so incredible. I just laughed from the deepest part of my being with so much joy. The clown nose Dalai Lama story and the thank you story, these are just gems for living. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. You're already using it. Congratulations. That's how easy it is.
It's actually perfect. A couple of years ago, I was trying to remember the prompt, but I decided that I would pick something. I think I've said this on the show before, but I would pick something that I do every day, and I would attach a gratitude mantra moment to it. And so I have tea almost every morning, or I at least press the hot water kettle. So now every single morning for the past couple of years, when I go into the kitchen and I press the down button on the tea kettle, I say, gratitude. And I just really focus in on feeling that and sending it out to the world. And I have to say, just doing that once a day has changed my life. And now I'm going to try out the thank you all the time for everything and see how it feels.
You can sometimes tap into almost like a drug-like experience, because you realize that we're given so much. I mean, normally our minds are always focused on what's wrong and what's missing. But our hearts can tap into this other reality. And that's what, a Wayne Dyer or a Byron Katie or Eckhart Tolle are doing, is they somehow manage to find a way to tap into that peace and love, which is basically our true nature.
Yeah.
So true. So true.
Yeah, I wanted to take a minute to riff on how kind people are. And, having hosted this show, and before that, doing my TV shows, and I've met, there used to be an expression, never meet the author. Because there was a time when you'd read a book and it was wonderful, and then you'd meet the author and find out that he was a real jerk. But I haven't had that experience. I've met almost every author that I love or that I respect. And they are all so kind, so generous, so caring. It's like, it's wonderful. And the same thing with the people on this show. Everybody on the show, they're humble, they're equally intrigued by the other guests. There's just a beautiful sense of camaraderie and companionship and care that emanates from our tribe, and the leaders of our tribe. And the leaders are no longer pretending they have it all together and being idiots, but instead they're all like Jonathan saying, hey, what can I learn? Matt, last night, with Matt Kahn, an hour asking Trish questions about decolonization. So it's just beautiful that this is the world we're living in. This is the awakening world. And God knows there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, a lot of people that are not operating at that level. But boy, I'm sure grateful for our tribe that is operating at that level.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, to get more Jonathan Robinson, and he's got one of the great names of a website, findinghappiness.com. Look at this little guy. I love it. So definitely go to findinghappiness.com, immediately put in your name and get your bonuses. Jonathan is one of those generous guys. By getting on his newsletter, he sends out an email usually once or twice a month, and it's always got tips for happiness, amazing little videos that he makes. It's really, really fun. So definitely find happiness with Jonathan and go order The Enlightenment Project. It's now available on Amazon, right? We can pre-order
Came out
it
yesterday, and I'm really excited. I think it's my best book, and it's filled with a lot of really interesting lessons I learned from all these teachers. But I always ask them, okay, give me your best method for finding inner peace and happiness. And it's really amazing. I love a good method. I love a good story. And that's why I tried to put in the book, because I think we're all on an enlightenment project, going from identifying with our little ego to something bigger that can come through us. And when you have those moments, nothing's better than that.
Here it is. I just found it on Amazon. So again, you can just go to Amazon. Make sure you go to Smile Amazon and do it through Unified. So we get like a little nickel or whatever it is, 20 cents for when you buy Jonathan's book. But there it is. It's on Amazon and paperback or Kindle. So that's pretty cool. Jonathan, I love you, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's always fun, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Jonathan. I can't wait to meet you in person.
Likewise, I look forward to it.
So I've adjusted the name of tonight's show to favorite authors and musicians that we love. And Kristen is going to introduce our next wonderful musician.
Oh, well, I am thrilled to introduce our beloved Omashar, who is back with us again tonight. Omashar, every single time I hear you, I'm both moved and inspired and uplifted, and I'm sure you have something good in store for us tonight. Let me just tell everyone a little bit about you. Omashar is an accomplished singer-songwriter and has transformational workshop facilitator. His music, which he terms metaphysical pop, celebrates the connection of all life and the journey we all take home to our true self.
Well, there it is.
There it is, right?
Yeah, it is.
As we've just been discussing, nothing more important than this.
In this awakening process, it's really interesting when you hear someone speak an accolade about you. Where in yourself do you feel it's saying resisting that? And so I'm on a journey now of just surrendering everything that doesn't serve my awakening anymore and my connection. And I actually, a song usually pops in a couple of days before I play a show, and this one's called Total Surrender, and it's about surrendering to your true self, to your future self, and the lyrics in it are a dialogue between Divine Mother and myself, and it's from my album The Flower of Life, which was recorded in Norway. And I'm using the backing track from that. And there's a Norwegian woman called Linda Kvam, Kvam, who's a famous singer within Norway. And she's on this backing track. And so when you hear this woman come in, it's not me being duplicitous. It's that. And you have to get out of your chair and dance. It's a little funky. It's a little deep. And now we shall see if anything I've said is true. So
I'm ready to surrender.
Oh, hang on a minute. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
In the event of a terminal day, I would turn to you. I would would say, please help me. Help me see through this illusion. The tears would fall, my knees would bend. I lift my hands up to the heavens. Help me out of this illusion. My trust is in you, my faith is strong. I hear the call, it won't be long before sunrise. The light of a brand new day. I hear you say, give me total surrender. I'm coming your way. Total surrender. You came with me out of the mist, a violet glow, an amethyst of beauty, never seen on earth before. I'll come with you into the light. My starry eyes are burning bright. I trust you. Now I know the reason why. I hear you say, give me total surrender. I'm coming your way. I need total surrender. No compromise with total surrender. So come dry your eyes, give me total surrender. Oh. Awakening World, here we are.
Oh, fantastic.
Woo! Omashar, that was amazing.
Hey, that's really cool. Let's get rid of this. Haha. I've actually never performed that live before, ever. And so that was the first. I was really nervous doing it. You know, you get nervous and you kind of go, can I do this? And yeah, I've played around the world 1,000,000 times, and I've never played this song. So anyway, thank you, Jonathan.
It went great, and once you get that first time out of the way, then it feels like, oh yeah, I want to do that again and again.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Aloha. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. And you know, Omashar is very generous. He's got some great music on YouTube. I love Kingdom of Gold. That's the very first one I first played when he was watching this show, and he said, oh, you know, maybe I could be on your show sometime. And now he's become the house musician for the Awakening World. So go to YouTube and put in Omashar music. Thank you very much, Omashar.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. I also, you know, I want to take a moment. We're going to connect with Dr. Kelly in a sec. But I just want to take a moment to acknowledge one of our regulars. Storm brought up that his daughter is in the emergency room right now. I believe her name is Maria. So just still take a minute and let's send Global Peace Tribe, Awakening World, love and blessings to Storm's daughter, Maria. Maximum grace for Maria. Maximum grace for Maria. Maximum grace for Maria. Thank you, everybody. Dr. Kelly is in the house. And Kristin, I've gotten to know him a couple times. He's been on the show because he's a wonderful scientist. We're going to learn a little bit about his latest formulation, but he's also one of our favorite authors. And he wrote a book called Shapeshift, the Shape Intelligence Solution. So Dr. Kelly, Greg, welcome back.
That's fine.
Okay, good. Welcome back to the show.
Well,
And tell us a little bit, since it's authors, tell us a little bit, first of all, about the book.
sure. Before I do, I just want to say thank you. What a wonderful way to spend a Saturday evening. So I'm very grateful. So the book. So I'm a naturopathic doctor, but before that, I was an officer in the Navy back in the Reagan years for people that are old enough to remember. And, the Navy at the time had strict weight standards, and some subset of the sailors always struggled to meet those. So I, at the time, was one of the weird officers that actually cared about what he ate and went to the gym and tried to stay in shape. So they gave me that job to try to help those people meet Navy weight standards. And frustrating for them, frustrating for the Navy, frustrating for me, right? Like the general approach was trying to get them to eat less and exercise more. And then as a naturopathic doctor, seeing patients, again, I saw like a huge range of things, but periodically it was for weight. And what happened over time, especially inheriting some other doctors' patients and family and friends, I just found a number of people that felt almost like they were failures because they'd been diligently trying to do mostly like an eat less type of thing, but often eat less and exercise more. And the truth of it is that kind of works until it doesn't. And then our willpower gives out and we end up often, in worse shape than we were before that really, intense effort to do something about how we look and feel. And so Shapeshift evolved out of that. And the general idea of the book was if Sherlock Holmes was around and was looking at shape, so, not just weight, but our whole shape, right? What would he think? If he was investigating it, what would he find? And so each chapter in the book starts with a Sherlock Holmes quote, but then is really an eye towards investigating something in that chapter. So, in one chapter, as an example, the idea that, overweight kills or is really unhealthy, right? There's a lot of nuance to that we often don't hear about. Another takes you into what Neurohacker Collective, the company I work for, really stands for, and that's understanding complexity science. Because you think about fat cells, we tend to have this idea that, so I guess the analogy would be, most of us, if we're dissatisfied with our height, we don't spend a lot of time sweating it because we understand there's not much we can do about it. But we have this idea that our weight and shape is way more plastic than for some people it is, right? I was born on the leaner kind of phenotype. Some people, are just stockier, right? Like that's the cards we're dealt. Now we can do a lot to influence that, but the metaphor for fat cells is this crazy intelligent network. And so I would use the term superorganism for complexity science, but think, hive of bees or an ant colony. So when science tends to study things for weight loss, they'll look at what would happen to one cell in isolation. But when we try to change our shape, we're not taking on one cell, we're taking on the whole hive. And that's a crazy, smart, intelligent hive that's always learning and adapting. So that's the idea behind the catchphrase, the shape intelligence, because all of us have this intelligence inside that's trying to make decisions and learn and remember to best match us to the life we're living and the environment we're living it in. And so everything from what we eat and how we exercise, but also, how much sleep we get, how good was it, the amount of stress, our relationships with ourselves, the toxicity that some of us might, have a higher burden of. So there's all of these different things. And even if we take something like food, like I love the term relationship that's come up with some of our wonderful speakers tonight. And, a lot of people have crazy relationships with food that, border on fanaticism. And I was there once when I was an officer in the Navy. I was, I think that time period in the 80s, it was that fat, really low fat, high carbohydrate diet. And, I tried to live that. And there's not a lot of ease that comes with spending so much of our mental bandwidth about trying to choose the foods we eat. So, one of the chapters on the book is trying to teach people about building almost what would be thought of as intuitive eating. But I think we can learn about foods in the same way we would learn about language, that like our system's built to learn. We just need to teach it the right thing. So that's the gist of the book. It was created to be a smarter person's approach to learning how shape and weight work, and some solutions that are not the conventional wisdom.
Thank you so much. I'm going to again go to, you can find it right here on Amazon, Shapeshift, the Shape Intelligence Solution. And for those of you in the Zoom room, Debbie's putting it in there for us. So thank you. Very, very exciting. Sure. Now, of course, I met you because James and Daniel Schmachtenberger are longtime friends of mine. So, of course, I love Qualia. I love Neurohacker. You've been on the show talking about Neurohacker before. Mm-hmm. And now you have created a brand new product, which I'm excited about. And I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, Neurohacker and me personally are crazy excited about this product. So the gist of it is this is something that would be a longevity category, anti-aging. And I'm going to try to, as simply as possible, kind of frame it. But think of it as we all age. There's, like our muscles, it becomes much more difficult. For the same amount of work, our muscles tend to get smaller, becomes harder to grow them. Our joints become less comfortable, and it can be much more challenging to play with grandkids or our pets, dogs, things like that. Immune system can struggle, right? We know about the aging immune system and the impact that's had on people getting the coronavirus. So anti-aging researchers have this construct, they would say the hallmarks of aging. So they've identified 9 characteristics that organisms, from mice up to humans share. And one of those is called senescent cells, or cellular senescence. And the general idea is that there's this thought that part of the reason we age, especially in unhealthy ways, is that damage accumulates progressively over time. And that the way to then approach things would be repairing the damage or getting rid of it. And that if we did that, that would kind of swing towards rejuvenation. So of those different hallmarks, cellular senescence, I think, is the most advanced for that repairing damage or getting rid of damage concept. And so what cellular senescence is, and I think probably many of the listeners would have heard this, that many of our cells renew each other, right? So we have some, like blood cells, have a lifespan of about 3 to 5 days. Things that come into contact in our digestive systems, those are pretty short-lived cells. But in adipose tissue, a cell's lifespan there will be about 8 years. Muscle, it's a little bit longer. Some other tissues, it's shorter. But cells are constantly churning. And the analogy I would use, and I grew up in New England, so Massachusetts, not Connecticut, like one of our authors, but that part of the country is well known for its fall foliage, right, where the leaves change colors and then eventually fall off trees. So the process where our cells, the old cells in our tissues, basically get eliminated is actually a Latin word that means falling off. And in that same sense, that fruit falls off a tree or leaves fall off a tree, right? And it's the technical name's apoptosis, but just think of that idea of falling off. So what would happen is like in a tissue like fat tissue, over 8 years, cells would be born, do all their useful things, and eventually go through that process of falling off. But as we age, what happens is some cells get stuck somewhere between. They're not healthy anymore, but they haven't completed that process of falling off. So like picture a plant now, and you have like one leaf that's starting to yellow. But instead of then dying and falling off the plant, it just kind of sticks around. It's not green and vibrant. It's something less, but it's not gone. And what then happens is that leaf can now attract pests. It'll suck up nutrients that should be ideally used in healthy leaves. And so it can then make other leaves less healthy, right? So you get more and more yellowing and brown leaves. And that's why ultimately you would prune your plants, right, to get rid of those things early on. So what happens as we age in our tissues, we gain more and more of these cells that haven't fallen off, so senescent cells. And the idea of this new product, it's called a senolytic, but it would be something you would take 2 days a month to do the equivalent of essentially prune those cells off so that they don't make other new cells also senescent. So there's a lot of big science in it, but the key idea is it's a preventative thing for most of us. But for people that already are suffering some of the discomfort of aging, it can be a way to reverse that. It's something you would only do 2 days a month, so it's not a daily thing. And there's, again, scientific reason for that. But the key idea is you take a big dose of these things that can then get into tissues and start to prune those off. And just like pruning a plant, you wouldn't do that every day. You don't do this every day. It's just kind of like an ongoing program, I guess would be the best way to say it. So I'm sure I've said a lot of things that might need clarification. So Scott, or anyone, if you have questions, I'm happy to field them.
So what do you suggest? Somebody wants to, it's an anti-aging product.
Yep.
So when we get started, how do we start? What do we do?
Yeah, so it's really, we tried to make it simple. It's so it would be, again, something you would just take 2 days a month. So it's going to come in capsules. It's going to be in a blister pack. A full month is 12 capsules. You just take 6 of them in a single day. Typically with a big glass of water. With or without food doesn't really matter. But if you tolerate supplements without food, then these are very tolerable. And that's it. You just do it like simple 2 days, and then you're good for a month. And the goal is that each cycle you diminish some, like progressively, some more and more of the senescent cells. So we did a small study before moving it to market, but in that we recruited people that had joint discomfort. And we had them do 3 cycles, so 2 days, a break, 2 days, a break, and then 2 days. And what we saw was more than 50% improvement in those 3 cycles. So,
wow. I'm going to bring Kristen on for a moment. And Kristen.
I have a question, actually.
Oh, good.
Good.
So when you're doing this 2 days a month, do you recommend doing some kind of cleansing for those couple of days as well? How do you approach the cell die-off and really clearing that out if somebody's just continuing with their normal diet?
So that's a great question. And so like this process of falling off, it's the immune system that cleans it up. So we don't really have to worry about, like detox or like supporting the liver or kidneys. It's a completely different thing. But in the rest of the month, I think it's really important then to do things that make our immune system strong. So, that's where, some of the tools are actually mentioned tonight, really, gratitude, relationship with important people. Those are some of the most beneficial things for stress, and stress is kryptonite for the immune system. So the rest of the month, I think the main thing is, do things that are, good habits. So getting enough sleep, eating well. But those 2 days, we tried to make it really simple. So
one of our regulars, Dr. Laura, is asking, are there any side effects from the cells dying off?
So one of the reasons we do those studies is to get a sense of tolerability. And what we saw was we got about the same percentage of, like mild headaches or GI complaints that we get with placebo. So we found it to be really tolerable. So that said, like there's some people that with a placebo are gonna feel something negative, but the way I would then troubleshoot that is if someone feels like they're sensitive to starting new things, I just have them start more easy, like gently, rather than taking 6 capsules. Let's just start you with 1 this cycle, and we'll just build up gradually.
All right, well, here is where you go. You go to neurohacker.com, shop Qualia, Senolytic. We're putting it into the chat box, but for you watching on Facebook, maybe take a picture of this. And there's a promo code, which is SNA. It's the promo code that we started using with Qualia way back when we were doing Saturday Night Alive. So there's a promo code SNA, and you get your first shipment at half price. So this is the new product he's talking about. And for any of you that have not started on Qualia yet, I know Jonathan Robinson uses it. I use it. A lot of our people use it. Just go to neurohacker.com and again, put in the promo code SNA and it'll right away get you going on a special discount that they've set up for us. So we love Qualia. We love the Neurohacker products. James and Daniel, who started the company, are dear friends of mine, and they are 2 of the smartest, kindest human beings. That people, that they could be that brilliant, and that in their heart is amazing. And I've discovered that to be true with you also, Dr. Kelly. So it's really always a pleasure to have you on our show. And
I don't think I can match James for heart or Daniel for brain, but I'm kind of in the middle, maybe.
They're pretty incredible guys.
They're hard to match.
I love the focus. That has helped me a lot. When
good.
I really need to focus in, even if I take just 1 of them, I feel it gives me that extra, just like turn the fine-tune dial.
Well, again, thank you so much for having me tonight.
Thank you for your contributions to our world, to our awakening world, because again, these nootropics are part of the awakening world. They're helping us to have better brain function without overly caffeinating ourselves or doing things that are going to have harmful effects down the road. So thank you, Dr. Kelly.
Welcome.
Guess what? It is Jai Uttal's birthday weekend.
No way.
Yeah, he's going to be 71. And he made this video for us for our anniversary show. And we have so much to integrate. Everything that we've heard from Dr. Kelly and Katherine and Courtney and Jonathan and you. So I want to invite people as we just kind of drop in. We're kind of coming close to the winding up of the show. We still have Global Peace Tribe announcements and Fanny and Vigari. But let's drop into some Jai Uttal, shall we?
Looking forward. Here we go.
And I'm going to do the advanced version, which always takes an extra minute here. Where are you, Jai?
You definitely want to feel advanced.
Absolutely.
When we share, right? If there's an advanced possibility, let's go for it.
All right, here we go. Jai Uttal.
May we be bathed in the goddess energy of the moon, of the full moon, as we sing to Lord Krishna.
He Nata Narayana Vasudeva He Nata Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Nata Narayana Vasudeva He Nata Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Nata Narayana Vasudeva He Nata Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Nata Narayana Vasudeva He Nata Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Krishna Govinda Hare He Nata Narayana Vasudeva He Nata Narayana Vasudeva Narayana 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 Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Nata Narayana Vasudeva He Nata Narayana Vasudeva Narayana 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 Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nata He Nata Ayana Om Satgurudeva Bhagavan Ki Jai.
I think you're muted, Scott, but I could feel it.
Yeah. I love his devotion.
Yes.
You just feel that devotion so beautifully.
Yes. It's like one fluid line of spirit and soul. It's beautiful.
And again, everybody, you can go to his wonderful website. There's a wonderful little film. It's only 4.5 minutes long about Uttal and his history and his background. And of course, he's got a wonderful new album, Let Me Burn. And so really want to encourage everybody, go to jaiuttal.com, JAIUTTAL.com.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
I feel all of the goodness of like simmering in a night of beauty, and also just like, oh, we're almost there. We're almost there.
Almost there.
We've been together in this magical way one more time.
One more time. And thank you, Kristen. It's always, when I know that you're going to be my co-host, it's like, oh yes, it's a Kristen Hoffman night. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Kristen and I both have a friend. Kristen's known him longer than I have, named Lloyd Barty. And some of you saw him. He was on our show. We did a whole weekend dedicated to relaxpansion. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be at that festival in 2 weeks. It's in Ashland, Oregon. And you saw a lot of these musical artists on The Awakening World a couple of weeks ago. Donna DeLore. Just today, I was with Om at Soul Play. He's a good buddy of mine for a long time. And look at all these amazing people that are going to be at Relaxpansion. So if any of you can make it to Ashland, Oregon, come meet me in person. I'm the tall guy with the cute dog and long silver hair. And they've got amazing musical artists. Everyone's going to be there except for Kristen Hoffman.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm going to be there in spirit. And I love Lloyd, and he does so much to connect he's like the Uber connector of artists, of conscious artists especially.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really fun. And so if at all possible, go to Relaxpansion. There are just a few tickets left. It's going to sell out. So definitely do that.
Does Jasmine Bear have to get a ticket?
No. Because they did a weekend, he's letting Jasmine Bear in for free. And she's the star at every show. I mean, at Soul Play, oh, your dog. She's right down here. Cute little white dog. Guess what else? We get Kristen Hoffman 2 weeks in a row, because next week is World Unity Week. And there's so many things going on with World Unity Week. And we are going to kick it off on Friday night, actually, June 17th. I've got the founders of World Unity Week who are going to be joining us, John and Summer Raymer and Ben Bowler. And they're going to be kind of previewing what's happening. And then on Saturday night, the 18th, we have an amazing group of people coming. All of your friends, Kristin, are going to be here. We're going to have, of course, Ben and John and Summer. And we're also going to have Arena and Becky. And on Friday night, Pato and Antoinette will be joining us. And on Saturday night, Kristin is going to do another number for us, as well as Gary Malkin and Dot Maven. So we've got a great, and then on the Sacred Sunday show next weekend, we've got Swami Beyondananda, Fumi, and
Kwajo?
We're going to do at least a Kwajo video. So, whoops. So it's going to be, and we met Kwajo through Kristin. You know, it's like this one big happy family that we're all a big part of. So really excited about that. And tell us a little bit more, Kristin, about what you're going to be doing for World Unity Week, including a very special concert with our beloved Cornflower.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm so excited for World Unity Week. So if you guys have not signed up yet, you should go to worldunityweek.org and you can experience all of these festivities, including this concert, which is going to happen on the solstice itself at 8 p.m. Eastern time, my time, and 5 p.m. Pacific. Cornflower and I are going to dive into solstice energy, and the World Unity Week is aligning with elements every single day. And it just so happened that the element on that Tuesday on the solstice is fire. So the title of the concert is a Solstice Symphony of Fire concert. And I think it was very fitting, right? Solstice, we think of light and sun, and it's the day of greatest light. And so fire and light just, it couldn't be a better elemental match. But we're going to really take you deep on a journey from the heart, from the soul, from the spirit. So please come. It's for free. I'm so excited that this is going to be for free so that everybody can attend. You can either watch it on worldunityweek.org or the Zoom on the flyer, the Zoom room is listed there. And if you sign up for World Unity Week, it's just in the main Zoom room, like the main stage. So 8 o'clock Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, the 21st. Hope
Beautiful.
You come join us.
And again, if you haven't already, go to worldunityweek.org and then click register and make sure that you register. And it's all free. And they've got so many amazing presenters and events going on. It's incredible. It's really incredible. And we'll be previewing it next weekend. So you'll learn more about it then as well. Just a couple of other things. I want to invite everybody to the Sacred Sunday show tomorrow. We are continuing with authors that we love. And it's authors and musical artists that we love. And Omashar will be back playing music tomorrow. And we've got Dr. Patricia and Josiane, and they're both going to be with us live. And they're wonderful, wonderful women, wonderful souls, and wise, very wise. And then probably my favorite author is Andrew Harvey. And we're going to play a pre-recorded video that I did with Andrew. And so definitely join us tomorrow, 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern, as we wrap up this weekend's Awakening World, celebrating authors and musical artists Omashar that we love.
I love that you've added the musicians. Musicians are writers too, right?
Absolutely. You're authoring the music of our lives. Absolutely.
I love that. Authoring the music of our lives. That sounds like a perfect tagline.
It just popped out.
That's good. That's good.
And it's true. You are authoring the music of our lives, this chapter of my life. So your musical pieces are really the music, back in the 70s, it was Genesis and Yes. And then in the 80s, it was Genesis and Yes. And in the 90s, it was Genesis and Yes. But in the 2020s, it's definitely Kristen Hoffman, Cornflower, Nina Gray. Definitely. Yeah.
And Fanny and Vigari.
And Fanny and Vigari, who are going to close us out. And so I think.
And Omashar, of course.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Fanny, would love to hear what you're saying, but you're muted. But I love how the light's hitting you. That's beautiful.
You look mystical.
Here we are.
Thank you for closing our show tonight, Fanny and Vigari. We're so grateful to have another blessing of your music. And as Jonathan was prompting us before, thank you. Thank you.
Well, as always, it's an honor for us to be around you people.
Music is flowing. Music is flowing like your sweet, sweet loving. It keeps on going, going, like the river keeps on flowing to where you've never been before. It's a blissfulness, a benediction, an ecstasy that should not be contained in you. Like a seed, it should open, like a flower overflowing, flowing. Spread your fragrance, your radiance. Dance for everyone. You dance of the beyond. Music is flowing, reaching for higher grounds. Music is flowing, reaching out. Music is love, love in all the colors, in harmony with the waters. It swirls playfully beneath the sky, showered with blessing from the stars. Come in passion and spread your light of the dance of the beyond, reaching in, reaching out, sweet nectars and bliss out, reaching in and reaching out to the divine, to divine. Music is flowing, reaching for high ground. Music is flowing, reaching for higher grounds. Reaching for higher, higher ground. Reaching for higher, higher ground.
Music is flowing. So beautiful. I think that was the perfect way to just take us into this ethereal zone. I know here it's late, so that was the perfect nighttime lullaby.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so good to have you back, Fanny and Vigari. And I'm going to go to gallery view for everybody who's still with us. Thank you. The Wild Albert Cherry is with us, Mystic Monastery. Debbie Johnston, who is my wonderful co-producer who does so many wonderful things for us. Omashar, our house musician, and our favorite doctor, Dr. Greg Kelly. We'd have to do doctors that we love.
Yes.
Scientists that we love. That'll be an upcoming show.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to be on this, the opportunity to shine the love and to feel this divine energy together is much, much greater. So thank you for the intelligence that you bring to the world and these great doctors and great writers and inspirational. And it gives us the divine energy to just be better humans. So thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, everybody, I'm going to get some dinner. And I hope to see you all tomorrow morning for the Sacred Sunday show. And thank you, Kristin. I love collaborating with you.
Oh, it is a mutual feeling, Scott. You do so much for us all. I constantly am in awe of how much you do. And I also get that mom feeling like, Scott, are you taking care of yourself? Are you going to go to bed on time? And because I care so much for you and I know how much you give. And I just want to take this moment to hold up my hand and send you some gratitude and say thank you.
Maximum appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a million.
All the millions.
Oh,
Maximum grace.
That's right. My favorite one. Well, thank you. That's a beautiful send-off. I love you all. Have a beautiful evening, everybody. Good night, everybody in our Zoom room. Good night, everybody watching on Facebook. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you tomorrow morning. Take care, everybody.
Peace.
Good night.
Peace out.